Hey guys, what's up? It's five. It's a little after five, and it's Friday, and I'm doing another live here. And it's I'm three of the past four Fridays, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and make this a thing. Every Friday around 5 o'clock, I'll touch base with everybody and give you kind of a rundown of what's going on within our world here at AutoMax and some of the things that we've discussed on our Friday call. I don't have a cool, fancy little name for it because I'm just not a cool, fancy little name kind of person. So it's just going to be me being me and talking to y'all for a few minutes here Friday at 5 o'clock. So today I'm going to talk on a topic that's become very near and dear to me, and that's emotional intelligence. My goal here in 2020 is to talk so much about emotional intelligence that both our internal team here at AutoMax and everybody out there, my wife, my kids, our cat, everyone that knows me just literally wants to slap me in the face because they're so sick of hearing me talk about emotional intelligence. And for those of you who don't really know what it is, I encourage you to do some simple Googling. There's plenty of information out there. Gary Vee's really big on it. He's kind of the one that got me going with it. Excuse me. Plenty of books out there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the first concept, or I guess the first pillar, there's four parts to emotional intelligence, but one of the big ones, and you'll hear a lot about it, it's kind of a buzzword out there right now, is self-awareness. And we spoke about self-awareness internally today, and it doesn't get talked about a whole lot. So obviously, when people hear self-awareness, their mind instantly goes to self-reflection and what do I need to fix and what's bad about me and oh what's wrong with me. And I think that's why a lot of people lack self-awareness. They instantly go to a bad place or a negative place of I don't want to look internally. That's scary stuff to start assessing myself and seeing my shortcomings. And that's true. It is hard. Nobody wants to sit there and see where they're coming up short. But there's a second half to self-awareness that kind of gets overlooked, and in my opinion, is even more important than finding your faults or pointing out your faults or knowing where you come up short, and that's knowing what you're good at. And I think if you dig in a little deeper, you'll find that that's even harder to do or much harder to do than coming up with your weaknesses. Whether it's just human nature or society we live in, media, advertising, anybody can sit here and just rattle off, I stink at this, I'm coming up short on this, I'm too fat, I'm not smart enough, blah, 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 all the labels that you give to yourself that in a lot of cases aren't true. But, true or not, it's pretty easy for us to come up with our faults. What isn't easy is to identify the things that we are good at and then play to those strengths. And that's something we talked about on the call today. And it was actually mentioned by our marketing director, Brian Stroka, who's also my cousin. He said, man, Joe, I thought I was going to have some good ones for this. It's taken me a second to come up with something. And it actually took me a couple minutes this morning, too. When I came up with the idea for the call, I said, shoot, I guess I should probably have one, too. And it took me, about 5 minutes to settle on one that, yeah, I'm good at that. I can do that. I'm confident in my ability in that, and that's one of my strengths. I want to use an analogy here, and I'm going to use the sports world for it. And for a couple of reasons. I love sports, but I've always found the sports world to be just such a great microcosm of absolutely kill me to do this. But I'm going to talk about Lamar Jackson, and obviously everybody's talking about Lamar Jackson, and frankly, if he didn't play for the stupid Ravens, he'd be one of my favorite players right now too, because he's a lot of fun to watch. But something really remarkable is going on with Lamar Jackson. We've seen athletic quarterbacks come into the NFL. We've seen running quarterbacks come into the NFL. But more often than not, it doesn't pan out. And a lot of the reason it doesn't pan out is, you get, we want to turn him into a wide receiver. We want him to do a running back. We want him to do all three, kind of the Cordell Stewart model from back in the day. Man, I just mentioned a Raven and a Steeler all in one live. That's depressing. But, short from that, even if they do let them play quarterback, it's all right, well, we want you to be in the set pro-style offense. We need you to stay in the pocket. Don't move. Don't run around. That's bad. You can't do that. Well, they've taken a different approach where Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, and John Harbaugh said, no, this is who he is, we're going to style our entire offense around his strengths. So they are playing to his strengths. They know what his strengths are. They identified them. He knows what his strengths are, and they're playing to that. Now, the other side of that is obviously he has weaknesses, and he has things that he needed to improve from last year to this year. And it's the same thing with yourself as a person. Just because you're playing to your strengths and you're applying the things that you're good at to your life, to your business, whatever it may be, that doesn't mean you just ignore the things you stink at. Obviously, those are the things you have to work on. And what he's done and what you should do is when you bring the weaknesses up to where they're at least, getting closer to where your strengths are at that level, then you're really cooking. And that's what we should all do, again, within, this isn't just stuff for business, just for your career, professional, it applies to your personal life, to your family life, etc., where you should always be striving to improve on your weaknesses. But don't forget what your and self-affirmation and really it's just a pat on the back that we all need. I've kind of hit on it the past couple of weeks, and it's kind of a developing theme now with these lives is, you really, really, really need to take some time and be nice to yourself. And this is a good way to do it. I made everyone on the call today not only, talk about their strengths, but they had to make the statement, and it had to be a declarative statement. I am good at blank. And it wasn't, I think I'm good. I feel like I'm good at this. It's no, that's crap. I am good at this. And just hearing yourself say it and saying it out loud, you start re-triggering your brain, road mapping your brain, because like I said, a lot of the negativity or just the fact that it's much easier to talk about our weaknesses than our strengths is just human nature, where that's just kind of unfortunately the way our minds want to work or tend to work. And then again, there are a lot of external forces pushing on us. You get a lot from advertising and such, where people are telling you you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough for various reasons. So again, just from a practical application standpoint, and then from a psychological standpoint, know your strengths, play to your strengths. I hate the Ravens, and God bless Lamar Jackson. He seems like a nice kid, but I hope he fails miserably. Thanks everybody for joining. I will be right back here next Friday at 5 o'clock. Take care.